So, what about the film really drew you to want to be a part of it?
Oh, I knew that I wanted to work on this project for a few reasons. Number one, I'm a huge sci-fi fan. I love action and adventure to get a picture. It's really cool. Number two, I'm a huge costumes nerd. There are some of my favorite things, and I knew that the costumes were going to play a really, really big role in this movie because anytime you send someone to space, that spacesuit that they're wearing can end up being a tiny spaceship if anything goes wrong. So I knew the costumes were going to be so incredibly important and elaborate and complicated. And I love a challenge like that. So I was super, super stoked to come onto this project and explore that.
So, I know in the presentation last week, you guys revealed that you had visited NASA and seen a lot of the stuff firsthand. But I'm curious, in designing the spacesuits for this film, how much would you say you were pulling from those, and how much would you say you were pulling from some of your favorite sci-fi films?
Oh, I love that question. I love that question. So we had a show philosophy, which is like we want to know what the rules of engagement are with spacesuits. Like we want to know why they work the way they do and what they do. And we talk to technical consultants to inform ourselves on that and to do that research. And so that's accurate, right? We want to understand accurate. But the show philosophy is that we always want awesome to win over accurate. So if those things are ever like, on opposite footing, we want awesome to win over accurate. So with like thinking about cinematic references, like there are so many exciting movies out there that show different ways that you can take science fiction. We knew that our movie was going to have that like 70s 80s type feel where like there's no cloud, right? Like everything's got the wire, everything's got the drive, we've got the hoses, like all of those things. And so it was really, really exciting to sort of ground ourselves in like what would sci-fi look like, in that world. And sort of like, make sure that awesome would win on top of that at all times.
Do you have any specific examples you can think of in which you went with awesome over accurate on the suits?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So if you look at a lot of the early NASA spacesuits, a lot of times they don't have a belt. They're wearing like this cloth onesie almost, and it's like it works. It keeps people alive. It's very important. And these people are heroes that wear it. Um, but there's a juvenile shape to that, to not having definition like at the waist. And so one of the first things we wanted to do is put a belt on the spacesuit, because like we know this is Buzz Lightyear. Buzz Lightyear's belt matters. Buzz Lightyear has a utility belt, and like this is really important to the character. So one of the first things that we sort of like diverged from early space exploration is like putting that belt on Buzz, because we knew like we needed to end up at the Space Ranger costume that we know and love. So let's start with that. And it just changed the way that he looked right away. It just gave him this like sense of heroicism. And it was really, really exciting to get to do that, like as early on as when we were working with clay, trying to figure out the proportions.
So then, what was it like developing the suits and designs of the younger characters that he comes to be involved with, like Taika and Kiki and all of them? What was it like designing their looks?
So they're such a cool group. Darby, Mo, and Izzy are such a cool group because they're wearing a uniform. So they're wearing a uniform, but they don't have the resources that the senior Zap Patrol has. They don't have the new stuff. They've got the hand me downs. They're training up to be rookies, and so they're really, really resourceful. So how do you design a uniform that fits on three very different body types, that shows that these characters are trying really hard, but don't necessarily have all the resources that the senior Zap Patrol has? So that was really, really exciting. We started playing with some asymmetry. And you can do that in color. You can do that in pieces and components. You can do that also with like tape. Like one of the characters has tape across their leg where something's fallen off and like they just have to tape it back together themselves. And so we get to put all these like really cool details in that show that like this is a really resourceful bunch that makes the best out of what they have. And we did this really cool thing where when we would look at their costumes, sometimes we would just look at it in black and white. say, let's take out all the color. Let's just look at like the silhouette of the character against a plain backdrop. And like that was a way that we would measure success of like, are these characters wearing the same uniform in different proportions? And when we did that and it looked like they were all wearing like a uniform that they customized themselves, we were like, boom, we got it. That's the Junior Zap Patrol. It was really exciting.
So now, which one would you say you had more fun working with? Tracing Buzz's suit through its various evolutions, or designing the younger group?
Oh, that's so hard. That's so hard. I think, oh, that's a good question. I think probably because we spent the most time with it, right? Like Buzz, we spent the most time with because he's our hero. Like he's the one whose mission we're supporting. So I'm going to go with Buzz because like we get to think about how a suit is going to change like over decades, while his reference point is like he doesn't feel like he's moving through time because of the space travel, but like his friends and his community is moving through decades in just minutes. And so that was such a cool challenge to think about, like, how would each suit and ship and fuel, like, how would that change over time between like large gaps of time for him to come back to and try that on and try to reach his mission again, knowing that we have to end up at Space Ranger. So like that was such a cool challenge that I think that was definitely one of the favorite challenges on the show.
That's awesome. So you've been with Pixar for a while, but this is, as far as I'm aware, your first time with the supervisor title on a project. What has that been like for you tackling that role for this one?
It's been so rewarding getting to be a supervisor, especially on this show that provides a new level of bar and a new level of challenge and a new level of detail and a new level of artistry and directed folds. It's been really, really exciting to get to do that. Everyone at Pixar is reaching for the stars every day. We're all trying our hardest every single day. And the really cool part about being in the supervisor position is that you are part of helping people reach for the stars every day and looking around and saying like, okay, who needs a step ladder today? Okay, you need a step ladder today to reach for the stars. Both of you are reaching for stars that are similar, but you haven't met yet. Let's introduce you to each other so that you can like talk to each other. And so it's almost like you are in mission control, making sure that everyone is heading towards the same trajectory. And you're looking at the images and you're just celebrating. Like every time you see everyone's hard work come together, it's like lightning in a bottle, and you get to celebrate with the team and make course corrections for where we're trying to end up. And it's just so amazing because the people at Pixar are incredible.
Well, I'm glad you got to have that rewarding experience on this one. I look forward to seeing the rest of the film and seeing your name pop up on more stuff, because you clearly know what you're doing and you're doing a phenomenal job. So thank you so much for taking the time to chat. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Grant. It was so nice to spend time with you.